Hello there everybody, my name is Anthony, aka Tone114, and this week I am bringing you my Week 9 match of the NES, when I go up against Wyfrel, coach of the Nottingham Forest Curse. This time around, instead of putting my team builder and my post commentary separate, I decided I'm just gonna put everything into one big video and just make it easier on myself to just do the team builder and then jump right into the post commentary afterwards. So, without further ado, I will, as you see, the two teams. My team, as you know, is on the left, and my opponent is on the right. Starting with his Tyranitar, a very good versatile Pokemon with Sandstream, giving him a boost in a special defense boost in the sand. Can do a multitude of options. It can do Choice Scarf. It can run a support set. It can do Dragon Dance, although it's mostly left to its Mega form. Volcarona, a good Quiver Dance sweeper, does have that annoying 4 times Stealth Rock weakness, but it can be offensive Quiver Dance. It can be bulky Quiver Dance with Fiery Dance, Bug Buzz, can access to Roost, Giga Drain, things like that. He has the Jolteon, very fast electric type, Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Hidden Power, Shadow Ball, Signal Beam. A good array of coverage options at its disposal. Kind of frail, but it makes up for it with its good solid speed and special attacking power. Dragology, a very powerful wall breaker, albeit it is slow, but backed by adaptability, Draco Meteor and Sludge Wave can decimate my entire team if I am not prepared. Um, can also access the Toxic Spikes, which he can bring, but if he does bring Dragology, I'm not expecting Toxic Spikes as I do have Scolipede and Nidoqueen, so I'm assuming it's going to be like a. If I see Dragology, I'm assuming it's like either a Spec set or like Draco Plate, something along those lines. Cinccino, a fast, can be a bit annoying, but access to Skill Link, has multiple hit moves, Tail Slap, Rock Blast, Bullet Seed, can knock off coverage options like Wake Up Slap. Mostly it's either he's probably going to bring a King's Rock or probably a Choice Scarf or Choice Bandit set, most likely. Scyther, good. It's a solid bulky Pokemon with Eviolite. Can be a setup sweeper with Swords Dance. Has access to Technician, Aerial Ace. Can Roost. Can be a bulky setup sweeper. Again, like Volcarona, has that 4 times weakness to Stealth Rock. But and it is his only form of hazard removal on his team, as he does have as he can run. If I do see Scyther, he can run Defog Scyther to get rid of my hazards, as it's his only form of hazard removal. So getting up my rocks early is going to be crucial in this battle. He has Mega Slowbro. It's a fat, annoying mon with the Shell Armor ability, so there will be no critical hits in this battle unless I bring my Mold Breaker Druddigan, which I'm actually not bringing this week, so it can be annoying with Calm Mind. Um, if he's like a double dance with Calm Mind plus Iron Defense, Slack Off, and then probably Skull, that would be an issue, but he will lose out on coverage, and I can take advantage of that. Umbreon, a good wall. A good special wall, has access to Wish, can Heal Bell, Baton Pass. It is a bit passive though, as it can be set up fodder for some of my Pokemon, which is sort of a turn off for me personally. As if I want to use a wall, I want it to be not so passive. I want it to be able to retaliate in some way, shape, or form. Not saying Umbreon's bad, it just can be taken advantage of given the right situation. He has regular Venusaur. We fought Mega Venusaur last week, so no thick fat on this. He can potentially run a setup Sunny Day Chlorophyll set with Sunny Day Solar Beam, Sludge Bomb, Hidden Power Fire, things like that. Um, can run a choice, can do a Life Orb set, can do Choice Scarf. It can pull off a bunch of different options here where it's not held back by having to be a mega. So it's sort of a wild card here, but I'm not really expecting the Venusaur. Gastrodon can be an issue as he does have it's a good water type. Storm Drain to absorb my Manaphy Scolds, so I'm pretty much forced to bring Energy Ball this week, so I'm not completely walled by the Gastrodon. I have to be careful if he is like a Windowberry Mirror Coat set, especially defensive, as that will completely destroy my Manaphy. So if I do see Gastrodon, I have to be aware of that in the back of my mind. And lastly, he has the Greninja, of course, Torrent Greninja, not Protein. So he cannot take advantage of him changing his typing into the move he uses, but Greninja still has some good usage in terms of being able to access spikes, toxic spikes. It's very fast. Still can do Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, Dog Pulse, Gunk Shot, Extra Sensory. You can pivot out with U-turn, but it's not that much of a threat, but it can be given the right circumstances, especially if I let him have his way early on if he does bring the Greninja. So, with that being said, I'm going to show you the team that I am bringing versus the Nottingham Forest Curse. So, as you see, leading off our first member of the team, we have, making another return, Crimson, the Druddigan, Rough Skin Rocky Helmet again, with this time Stealth Rock, Glare, Rock Slide, and Dragon Claw. Now, the reason I bring defensive Druddigan as opposed to offensive Druddigan is mostly because most of his team is special, aside from the Tyranitar and the Scyther, for the most part, and the Cinccino. But I wanted to make sure that I still had some way of dealing with those physical attackers. I didn't want to be completely focusing on the Volcarona, on the Greninja, things like that. So I wanted to make sure I had all the bases covered, and mixed defensive Druddigan does do that for me. So Druddigan's job is to, like I said, it's a check to the Tyranitar, if the Tyranitar is Choice Scarf, I can glare it, I can force it out, if it doesn't do that much damage. If Cinccino decides to hit me with a Tail Slap, it will kill itself after the third or fourth hit, if I recall correctly. I'm not entirely sure, but Rough Skin Rocky Helmet damage, you lose a quarter of your health with every turn. So yeah, after the fourth hit, then Cinccino will kill itself due to the Rough Skin Rocky Helmet combination. This is also a soft check to the Volcarona, as it is EV'd in a way that my Druddigan can take 2 unboosted Bug Buzzes from my Volcarona, which explains the EV spread. So again, max HP, make it as bulky as possible. The 68 EVs and special defense with the careful nature ensures that my Druddigan can take 2 Bug Buzzes from an unboosted max special attack timid Volcarona, with the rest put into defense, so it can take hits better from the Cinccino and the Tyranitar and the Scyther, and the 4 speed lets me outspeed. If he decides to bring Dragology and he puts EVs, if he invests speed into Dragology to outspeed an uninvested Druddigan, I can then outspeed a speed creeping Dragology, so I can do some damage with Dragon Claw. And in this battle, like I said before, that it's imperative for me to get up my Stealth Rocks early, because if my opponent doesn't bring Scyther in this battle, then my main priority will be to get up Stealth Rocks quickly and as fast as I can, as he has no way of getting rid of hazards outside of Defog Scyther. Now, Moving on to our second Pokemon here, we have Eddie Gordo, the Hitmontop, making another return with bringing in sort of another weird EV spread here, this is an Assault Vest Hitmontop with Close Combat, Rock Slide, Earthquake, and Mach Punch. I am not bringing Rapid Spin this week, though it might come back to bite me if he does bring Spikes Greninja, which I'm actually hoping he doesn't. So this Hitmontop set is basically designed to, again, this gives me another Volcarona check. This gives me a Tyranitar check with Intimidate. I can pretty much hit most of his team with the coverage seen here, and Hitmontop's job basically is to, like I said, it checks the Volcarona, checks Tyranitar, checks the Jolteon, it checks a bunch of Pokemon on his team. Close Combat is for the Tyranitar, hits the Cinccino and the Umbreon for super effective damage. Rock Slide for the Volcarona and the Scyther. Earthquake hits the Jolteon and the Trigalgis. And Mach Punch is just here for the priority. I can pick off a weakened Tyranitar, whatever. The EV spread is a bit convoluted, but basically it serves similar to Druddigan. Max HP lets my Hitmontop take as many hits as it can. The 36 EVs in special defense ensures that my Hitmontop can take at least two Fire Blasts from a Volcarona, and the defense ensures that a potential, I'm pretty sure with the in defense investment and after the Intimidate, as Scyther's Aerial Ace will not one-hit KO Hitmontop, so I can retaliate with a Rock Slide. So yeah, like Volcarona's Fire Blast to Hitmontop, that's about unboosted, does 33 to 40%. Jolteon's Life Orb Thunderbolt does about 30%. So it makes it a very good offensive tank. And the 60 EVs with the Adamant Nature on my Hitmontop ensures that Close Combat can one-hit KO a max HP, max defense Tyranitar without Stealth Rocks. It also ensures Rock Slide one-hit KOs Volcarona if it's not a bulky variant. Earthquake does about 90% minimum to a Jolteon, so it's a one-hit KO after Stealth Rock damage. And Mach Punch does about 35% to a I think it's more than that, to a Greninja, at least like 35 to 40% minimum to a Greninja. So if he wants to get cheeky, try to save the Greninja, I can pick it off with a Mach Punch. So moving on now to the third Pokemon on the team, we have Scolipede Centikill coming back with, instead of Protect, this time I am bringing Spikes for the first time this season. Now, seeing as his team had no definite form of hazard removal, I felt it was imperative for me to get up Spikes as well as Stealth Rock damage, simply because his only non-grounded Pokemon is the Scyther, and everything else on his team will be taking Stealth Rock and Spikes damage, which will be very nice for me, and most of his team doesn't have any reliable recovery outside of the Volcarona, the Scyther, and the Umbreon, and the Gastrodon and Venusaur, but they do not want to take repetitive damage from Stealth Rocks and Spikes piling up over and over again. And this is an offensive Spikes Scolipede with Mega Horn, Rock Slide, and Earthquake for coverage. Poison Jab was pretty unnecessary in this battle because nothing on his team is weak to poison, so it was a waste of a move slot. So I decided to bring Edgequake coverage with Rock Slide and Earthquake to go along with Megahorn. Megahorn has a chance to one-hit KO Tyranitar after Stealth Rocks and a layer of Spikes. Megahorn also hits the Mega Slowbro. It's my best move, Scorpion's best move for dealing damage to that Slowbro. It also hits the Umbreon and the Greninja. Rock Slide is here for the Volcarona and the Scyther. And Earthquake deals with the Jolteon, deals with Dragology, and the like. EV spread for my Scolipede, max attack, hit as hard as possible with the lifelong speed boost. The speed investment ensures that my Scolipede outspeeds a non-choice Scarf Scyther, as it's the fastest Pokemon my Scolipede can outspeed. After the speed boost, I will outspeed a non-choice Scarf Cinccino, non-choice Scarf Jolteon, which I'm not expecting his Jolteon to be Scarfed. He could be a Quick Feet set, who knows. The 28 EVs in HP hits a life orb number, then the rest is just balanced out between its defense and special defense to give it a little bit more bulk. But basically, my Scoliped's job is to, if he brings the Umbreon, I can set up a layer of spikes as he goes for the Protect, trying to scout my move. See if I go for the Megahorn. He can also switch out of Umbreon into something like the Slowbro, and I can get up a free layer of spikes, which would help me out. And this is meant to use early game for spikes and late game to clean up. However, if the opportunity does present itself, Scolipede can actually clean up late game if I do not potentially get burned while like an incoming Scald or Psyshock from Mega Slowbro takes me out, stuff like that. So I have to be very careful on how I play Scolipede this batch, especially since I'm not bringing Protect again. Last week it came to bite me in the butt, unfortunately, but we move on from those. So now we have our fourth Pokemon here, Manaphy, Splish Splash coming back. Standard Tail Glow 3 attack set again, and with the potential hazards my team can set up, it's going to be easy pickings for my Manaphy if I can get up a Tail Glow, as nothing would want to come in on a +3 Surf. I'm bringing Surf this time over Scald simply because the extra damage helps me. The Scald only affects the Tyranitar and the Scyther, which don't want to take a Surf, and Scyther doesn't want to take an Ice Beam. Energy Ball ensures I'm not walled by the Gastrodon, though I have to be careful if he is a Rindoberry Mirror Coat variant. But Canberry lets me bait in the Jolteon, trying to go for a Volt Switch, something like that. Max Special Attack, Max Speed lets me Speed Tie with a timid Max Speed Volcarona. I could try to hit it with a Surf before I try to Quiver Dance, something like that. And even if he does Quiver Dance, Energy Ball shouldn't be able to take out my Manaphy. So if it does, I can modify the EVs a bit to make sure I can live. So my Manaphy will be basically kept safe in the back until most of his mons are weakened, and then I can just clean up with Manaphy mid-late game. Something I'm looking around the time to actually set up with my Manaphy. Because at times during the season I have sacked it off pretty. I've played very aggressively with Manaphy, and then sometimes I've sacked it for no apparent reason. So this week I'm gonna try to get into the mindset of keeping things in check for Manaphy and only try to keep it in when absolutely necessary, something along those lines. So now moving on to the fifth Pokemon here, we have Susume Bachi, the Nidoqueen, rocking Life Orb Sheer Force with Sludge Wave, Earth Power, Thunderbolt, and Flamethrower. It's pretty much the same scenario as last week, except I am running no speed. I initially thought about bringing enough speed on my Nidoqueen to outspeed a max speed Jolly non-choice Scarf Tyranitar, but I felt as though the extra bulk that Nidoqueen gets would be better for my team, as with the extra bulk, if Tyranitar brings Earthquake, my Nidoqueen can actually live. And then I can retaliate with Earth Power, which can one-hit KO after Stealth Rock and a layer of spikes. Sludge Wave is a good good spammable move, as his poison resists are the Dragalge and the Gastrodon. Earth Power deals with Dragalge. Earth Power also takes care of Jolteon. Thunderbolt can potentially two-hit KO Mega Slowbro if he has not set up a Calm Mind. And Flamethrower is here for the Venusaur and the Scyther. So like I said, max HP, max special attack, just being an offensive bulky wall breaker for the rest of my team. Just try to soften up those Pokemon a bit for either my Manaphy or my Scolipede to come in and clean up late game. If it comes to a situation where I have to lead up with either my Druddigon, my Nidoqueen, or my Scolipede, I'll probably lead up with Nidoqueen if he does have a Scyther, but if he doesn't have Scyther, I can lead off with my Druddigon, get up rocks, though I have to be wary if he does bring the Greninja, as it can be problematic for my team with the he could have Hydro Pump my Nidoqueen, potentially knock it out. Ice Beam my Druddigon, potentially knock it out. So I might have to play around Greninja if it comes to that sort of situation. And last but not least, the final member on the team, I am bringing back my Cobalion, but this time it is not a Choice Scarf variant, it is a SD3 Attacks Lumberry set. I considered running Subsalic on this Cobalion, but at the same time I did not want to be walled by Mega Slowbro, so I was kind of forced to bring X-Scissor. So it was the only thing on my team, as it was the only coverage move I had to deal with Mega Slowbro outside of Thunderbolt, Nidoqueen, and Energy Ball Manaphy. So Cobalion can set up on pretty much everything. It can set up on Mega Slowbro, take Scalds from the Slowbro. If it gets burned, I have the Lumberry. If it gets burned by Volcarona's Flame Body, I can have the Lumberry for that. I'm running Sacred Sword for close combat because I do not want to take advantage of the defense drops can be a hassle, and Sacred Sword still takes care of the Tyranitar without me having to worry about lowering my defenses. Stone Edge is for the Volcarona, the Scyther, and X-Scissor hits the Umbreon and the Mega Slowbro. Simple max attack with enough speed on my Cobalion to outspeed Scyther and everything below that. If he does bring something like a Cinccino, I have to scout for Wake Up Slap. As Life Orb, it could potentially 2-hit KO my Cobalion, which will be problematic. So the objective of this team is to try to get up hazards as early and fast as possible. I don't necessarily have to get up 3 layers of spikes, but at least 1 will do if it doesn't bring Scyther. Then getting up those hazards will be a lot more easier for me, and it will be my primary objective heading into this battle. So that's going to be it for now. I'm going to now switch over to the post-com, to the battle, and we'll see what happens from there. So, be right back. Alright, so we are back with my Week 9 match versus the Nottingham's Forest Curse. With my opponent bringing a team of Dragalge, Mega Slowbro, Tyranitar, Cinccino, Scyther, and Gastrodon. I did figure that either the Scyther or the Volcarona was coming, but since I see Scyther, I automatically assume that this is going to be a default Scyther, just to keep Stealth Rock off the field. And My team can pressure Scyther pretty easily with my Jardigan Rusty Rocky Helmet, has Rock Slide. Hitmontop can live in Aerial Ace thanks to Intimidate, also has Rock Slide, Scolipede, out, running enough speed to outspeed the Scyther, Rock Slide, and I have Stone Edge on the Cabalion. So it's easily I can easily pressure the Scyther to defog. At the same time, I could also really get on some spikes on his team simply because everything but the Scyther is affected by spikes, and it makes it easier for me to clean up. Now looking at potential leads from my opponent, she can lead off with the Tyranitar, get up her own Stealth Rocks. She can lead off with Cinccino, just as the fastest Pokemon on the field, and she can get off the Quick Attack easily. She could also lead off with Dragalge, as I do struggle a bit in terms of switching in directly into Dragalge. I mean, I have Cabalion, but he doesn't want to take a Draco Meteor, even if it does resist. And I want to keep my Hitmontop healthy for the Tyranitar and the Cinccino in case Jardigan has some issues. So on my team, potential leads for me, I would let off with my Jardigan and get up my rocks early. But I also felt as though as Nidoqueen put in a lot of work in this battle, simply because that his poison resists are Gastrodon and Dragalge. Dragalge can be dealt with Earth Power, and I can weaken the Gastrodon and then set up in Gastrodon's face with my Manaphy. I also was fearing that the Gastrodon could have been like a Window Berry Mirror Coat set, especially defensive Mirror Coat Window Berry, and which would have destroyed my Manaphy. So I needed to keep that in mind in the back of my mind. So I decided that I wanted to lead off with my Nidoqueen, hoping that she wouldn't lead off with either the Cinccino or the Scyther. So as we talked about here, I lead off with my Nidoqueen. She eventually leads off with her Cinccino, which I was fearing, so I go directly into my Jardigan here, which is designed to take on the Cinccino, going for the knockoff, taking the Rough Skin Rocky Helmet damage. So now I figure here I'm going to go for my Stealth Rocks here. She goes for the U-turn. I was thinking she was going to directly hard switch, simply because she sees that I am Rough Skin, but instead of deciding to hard switch directly out into whatever Pokemon she's going to U-turn out into, she inadvertently takes extra Rough Skin damage, which is making it easier for my Hitmontop to pick off with a Mach Punch. So I'm just deciding that, okay, she's just going to pivot out and I'm going to be able to set up my Stealth Rocks here. I should go out into Gastrodon, and unfortunately I flinch, meaning that the Cinccino was holding a King's Rock. I was probably expecting like a Silk Scarf or an Expert Belt on the Cinccino, but it was a pretty nice move there to get the lucky 10% flinch on me. So I have this Jardigan versus Gastrodon matchup here. My primary objective in this battle is just to set up my Stealth Rocks, because just to wear down the Scyther, wear down Dragalge, the Mega Slowbro, things like that. And while I'm really fearing that my Dragon can be burned from Gastrodon's Scald, I felt as though that it was a risk willing to take this early, because rocks were pivotal. Hazards are crucial for me to win this match. So I decided to get out my Stealth Rocks here. She actually goes for Scald. Doesn't do much. She gets the crit, doesn't get the burn, so allows me to freely go back up into my Manaphy to take this Scald. I take absolutely nothing from it, and here is where I wanted to make sort of a prediction here, as there's no way she was going to leave in the Gastrodon against my Manaphy, as she does have Dragalge to go to, and she has to have some way of knowing that I have Energy Ball in this set. So what I end up doing here is, instead of going for a Tail Glow right away, I decided that I predicted Dragalge switching in on my predicted Energy Ball. So that's the play I ended up making in this turn. What I didn't expect was for her to stay in. She takes the Ice Beam, she gets critted and gets the freeze. So that was a very unfortunate turn of events in that one turn, as I wasn't expecting her to stay in with the Gashadon, much less to stay in and take the Ice Beam, and I didn't expect to get the Ice Beam freeze there either. So at this point, I'm thinking there's no way now that her Gashadon's frozen that she's going to save it. So I decided that my best play was just stay in and click Energy Ball. And I see the leftovers here too, so which confirms that she wasn't a Windowberry Miracle set as I feared. She was probably going for the Miracle just to catch me off guard, but unfortunately that didn't happen because of the freeze. So she decided to just sack off the Gashadon to the Energy Ball here, and just to get a free switch now into her Dragalge. So here's Dragalge now comes in, takes the Stealth Rock damage, and here I'm thinking, okay, I don't really have a definite switching for the Dragalge. However, if I can weaken the Dragalge and weaken the Scolipede, then I can actually put in work with, weaken the Mega Slowbro, then Scolipede can actually put in some work, as if I can get the Slowbro to around 55-60%, then a Mega Horn from my Life Orb Scolipede should be able to take out the Slowbro after I get up some spikes. So I figured my play was to just stay in and go for the Ice Beam just to get some damage off on the Dragalge. I do have to be aware of things like a specially defensive set, but all I wanted was damage on this Dragalge. So I go for another Ice Beam here, does 33%, and I get another freeze, which is very, very unfortunate getting these back-to-back freezes here. So instead of trying to do something crazy and try to switch out right now, I decided that I'm going to take a risk that Dragalge's not going to get unthawed. This is a one-turn unthaw. So I decided to go for a Tail Glow here just to ensure that the next Ice Beam I use does knock out the Dragalge. So I go for the Tail Glow here, and she remains frozen. So now it allows me to click Ice Beam and take out the Dragalge. So down goes Dragalge. It's very unfortunate. And here was a little bit of a misplay here, as she accidentally goes into the Mega Slowbro. And I was wondering in the back of my mind, she sent out Slowbro here. Is she trying to bait me to Energy Ball the Scyther? As Scyther was her only... Scyther is her only remaining Grass Resist, and Stealth Rock is still up. So I decided that at +3, Energy Ball, even though it's quad resisted by Scyther, should still do about a good 30% to Scyther. So I literally had no reason not to click Energy Ball here, as I was hitting something pretty hard, especially after a Tail Glow here. So she decides to stay in, trying to take the Energy Ball here, but she doesn't. So Manaphy picks up its third kill of the match, and now she goes back out into Cinccino. So after realizing that misplay and sacrificing Mega Slowbro for no reason, I can actually win with Scolipede, as if I can weaken the Tyranitar enough, then Scolipede actually wins the battle, as Earthquake takes out Cinccino from the range of HP it's at, Rock Slide deals with Scyther, and Mega Horn takes out Tyranitar. There's no reason for me to stay in with my Manaphy fearing the Bullet Seed. And if she doesn't have Bullet Seed, then she'll probably go for Tail Slap here. But either way, my play 100% was to go out into my Jordigan, as Jordigan does resist grass. So I make that read into my Crimson. Goes for the Tail Slap here. Unfortunately, she missed the Tail Slap. So everything right now is going against my opponent, and it's working in my favor. So in this turn here, I decided that the rest of her team that she has, and the way she's preserving that Tyranitar in the back, makes me believe at this point that the Tyranitar is actually a Choice Scarf variant. So and there's no reason for her to stay in on my Jardigan, especially with the rough skin, and it's physically and it has the defense that it has. So I'm just gonna go for a free glare as it paralyzes something on this team, whether it be the Cinchino, whether it be the Scyther, if he wants to come in and try to defog, or whether it be the Tyranitar. So she goes for the U-turn here, again taking unnecessary rough skin damage, and she goes out into the Scyther here, and I get off the glare. So this is one threat neutralized for me, as if I hit my rock slide, my rocks are here to stay, which is basically what I was trying to do this whole match. So now I go for my rock slide, it does connect, and it does take out the Scyther. So now it's 6 versus 2. She goes out into the Tyranitar here. I'm going to preserve my Jardigan for the time being and go out into my Hitmontop to get the Intimidate off, as she goes for the Ice Punch, does nothing to my Hitmontop. And now, with the situation being as it is, I actually win with Hitmontop. So she has like one of two options: either sack off Tyranitar and then go into Cinchino and hope I don't have Mach Punch, or she would sack off the Cinchino and then come back in with a neutral Tyranitar and try to take care of the rest of my team with a Choice Scarf Tyranitar, which won't be happening. Because if the best play for her is to lock herself into a move like Earthquake or Crunch, well, not Crunch, because I have 2 resist, something like Stone Edge or something like that. So she decided to sack off the Cinchino here to the close combat. So now it is a 6 versus 1 battle with the only Pokemon she has left is the Tyranitar. So it's pretty much looking like a 6-0 win in my favor. I could have stayed in, and I didn't do any calcs before I made this move. And it turns out that an Earthquake from a Tyranitar to a Hitmontop with -1 defense actually does about like 45 to 50% around that range to a -1 Hitmontop, and I could have gotten the 6-0 here, but I didn't want to take any chances. I didn't need to take any chances, but I decided that instead of risking my Hitmontop going down here, I decided just to sack off my Jardigan here to the whatever move she went for. So she decided to lock herself into Earthquake, which does hit everything on my team neutrally, but allows me to go back out into my Hitmontop, get the Intimidate off, goes for the Earthquake, does 23%, I go for the close combat, and that is going to be a good game. So I didn't get up spikes like I wanted to in this battle. I didn't get to really exemplify my team the way I wanted to because of the unfortunate double freeze on the Dragalge and the Gastrodon. The tail slap miss was unfortunate, but I don't think it would have mattered because the rough skin damage would have piled up to the point where either Cinchino knocked itself out due to the rough skin damage, or it lives, and my Hitmontop was countered with Mach Punch. So again, the result could have been a little bit different, but nevertheless, it is a 5-0 win in my favor. We are now 6-3 on the season with a differential of +11. For the time being, we remain in 4th place, but after this week ends, we could be as high as number 2, which is great considering that close loss we had last week. So, week 10, we'll be playing the Aston Charizards, coached by the Mad Danny, who is the winner of the previous test season of the NES, so I really have to be on my game if I want to come out with a win. So, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like button. Hit that like button. Yeah. Subscribe, hit that subscribe button because there's going to be more NES action where that came from. And here's hoping that the Maine Red Clawitzers can keep never launching themselves to victory. So, until next time, my name is Anthony, aka Tone114, and I'm going to catch you guys on the flip side. Later.